Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast where we have digital discussions, the worlds of pop culture, TV, film, sports, social media, everything really depending on the guests. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis, and on Twitter you know me as PD Beats. And my guest, you will recognize my guest. He's an actor. He plays Ron in a show that seems like it's taken over the world called Letterkenny. We're with James Daly. James, welcome to Popternative.
What's up? Thanks for having me. I'm stoked to be doing this. Buddy.
Absolutely. And I know, being Canadians, Letterkenny started in Canada on Crave, but now when I say kind of taking over the world, it's on Hulu in the States right now, and that's just been kind of crazy, and the reception over there has been nuts.
Yeah.
And
deadly. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I knew that it got on Hulu a little while ago, and yeah, I guess I've been hearing people are really eating it up in the States as well, and I'm stoked to hear that.
And you for people that kind of follow you, you're an actor, you do some theater as well, but you're also like a musician. But you can kind of classify all that as storytelling. When did you decide you want to be a storyteller?
I guess always, man. Like as far back as I can remember, it's all that I ever wanted to do. Like I've always sort of said ever since I was 5 years old and able to walk and talk, I wanted to be an actor. It was the first thing that I remember telling my parents that I wanted to be. Just watching movies. Jim Carrey was always my favorite actor in movies, and I wanted to be like Jim Carrey, and I wanted to be in movies and make people laugh and tell stories.
I just saw Sonic yesterday, so it's
oh
funny.
Really? How was it?
It was good. I mean, his role was kind of over the top as expected, but he killed it. It's Jim Carrey, you know what I mean? Like
he's wild.
Yeah. It's pretty
He's
crazy.
wild. He goes for it. And
it's pretty crazy too, because you think of a lot of like comedy icons out there, and a lot of them were Canadian. What does that say about us? You know what I mean? Like
we're wacky, we're silly, and the world loves to laugh at or with us, I guess.
You play Ron, aka Ronzi, on Letterkenny. That must be just such a fun character to play. Kind of talk about the origins of Ronzi, and did you kind of have some opportunities to kind of make that character its own when you kind of got the part?
Yeah, for sure. I remember getting the breakdown at the audition, and I had heard of the show and heard how awesome it was, and I didn't really know what to make of the character at first. Like he was obviously a bro, a gay bro, and like really aggressively sexual, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to be received, but I did the audition and booked the role and was stoked, and then got there, and I heard that my buddy Greg was going to be playing Dax, like my partner on the show, and we knew of each other beforehand because we actually went to the same theater school together. Different years, but same school. So we knew of each other and had hung out and like had gotten along great. So I was stoked that he was doing it. And then when we got there and started working with the team, and I saw how it sort of fit in and how it was treated and how they were creating the character, it worked, and they were really pleased with it. And then the show came out, and people seemed to like it and made them laugh, and so they kept inviting us back like season after season, and we've been sort of regulars on the show since, and that's been super exciting.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's really, really cool. What do you think are elements that are kind of adding to the success of Letterkenny? I mean, it's funny, it's unique, it's fresh, but at the same time, it kind of has it's about a small town and the people in this small town, and I think that hits home for a lot of people.
I think so many artists like live in big cities now, like either Toronto or LA or New York, but I feel like so many artists are from small towns, so a lot of people can relate to it and go like, oh, I know those people in my hometown. Or even if it's not like the same sort of characters that people are used to, they can just relate to like everybody kind of knowing everybody around town and knowing whatever the like drama is around town. And so I think that's part of it. I think part of the success of the show too is I mean, it's the writing, and it's how fast paced it is, and it's how quick witted it is, and silly it is, and a friend of mine, called it Shakespearean at one point, and that kind of stuck out to me. I was like, yeah, I guess they like Shakespeare. It almost sounds ridiculous to compare it to Shakespeare, but I think it's true in that like Shakespeare was known for inventing a lot of language and a lot of words, and his use of wordplay
Yeah.
and character, obviously. And I think that's what Letterkenny thrives on as well, is wordplay and characters and miscommunication and that sort of thing. So I think, like, on the surface it's really funny and people can relate to it, but there's definitely layers and a depth there with language that people either can relate to or maybe haven't experienced before in comedy. So they're like, oh, I can dig into this and really get into it. And there's a culture there that I'm being exposed to, and obviously people can get really into it and get into the language and the dialogue and the characters, and it's really fun for us to play, and it's even more fun knowing that people are enjoying it and it's successful.
And it seems like the cast and crew, I mean, and you know what? It doesn't happen all the time this way, because it seems like every time I interview people, they say, oh, the cast and crew is like a family. We're all like friends and everything, And sometimes that's not the case. But with Letterkenny, talking to a lot of the people I've had on my show, it seems like there was a real bond between a lot of the cast members.
Absolutely. Like every time I go there, it's like a welcome home party type thing. And it feels like, yeah, we're all just friends, and we get to go and hang out a few times a year up in Sudbury, Ontario, and like have a little adventure and hang out. Me and Greg go up there and we're there for a couple weeks, and then we come back and we're like, man, like that was awesome. Every time it feels like a whirlwind, but everybody does get along so great on the show. And yeah, it's true. It does feel like a little family up there.
I need to know, and I'm sure my viewers want to know, the speed dating scene with Michelle. How many takes was that, man? Let's be honest. Was that a lot of takes, or was that more like just a couple?
Dude, no, that was only a couple takes. It was up and down really quick. We shot it in a church, in like a church basement, and it was really cold in there. I remember it was they would only have people down on set who were actually shooting, and the rest of the cast was up in like the chapel of the church, so just like hanging out in the pews and like waiting for their scene. And it was really cold, and it was sort of like it was a wild day. But so because of that, it like there wasn't a whole lot of time to get lots of takes and stuff, I guess. But also, I don't know, Michelle is so good, and everybody came in like knowing their stuff. So it happened really fast, and Jacob and Jared were pleased with it, and Michelle and I, like, I don't know, the chemistry was there. And
yeah, it was, man.
There was only a couple takes.
Do you think that was kind of like the breakthrough moment, or one of them, of Ronzi? I mean, that was kind of an opportunity that really let you shine. That scene, you're just like going for it in that scene.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Greg and I, when they sent us the script for that episode, we're like, whoa, we're like in this. We're like featured. Like, this is, they're sort of like main characters in this episode. And sort of, yeah, up to that point, we had been like, comedic relief in the episodes, and sort of just like sprinkled in there. But yeah, the Valentine's Day episode for sure, I think was a breakout moment for Daxie and Ronzi.
And we can't forget about Shorzy. I mean, Shorzy is just kind of like one of the best things to come from that show.
He's one of the best parts of the show. Absolutely. I mean, it all comes from Jared and Jacob's minds, and they do so much. Like, I mean, that is Jared playing Shorzy, and he's so talented. He does so many of the voices on the show, and he does so many of the characters, and I have so much admiration for him. It's sick.
Yeah, I mean, well, the reason I asked about the takes is when I had Camila Cole on, who plays Bonnie McMurray. She says sometimes she would do some scenes, and it was just, before the scene would start, they would just kind of burst out laughing, and they would like have a hard time. I mean, I feel like that would be a struggle with a lot of that, especially if you're working on scenes with Jared or Mark Forward. I mean, I feel like that would be wild.
It is, of course it is, and that's the best part of filming a show is when you can't hold it in and you just burst out in laughter, and they have to call cut. And that definitely happened a couple times. yeah, when there's just laughs galore, and it's like it's a joy to be on the set for sure.
Absolutely. In terms of,
Yeah.
the non-Letterkenny stuff you've kind of worked on, what is the type of projects that James Daly likes to work on? Like, what's the ideal James Daly project?
Like I do a lot of theater as well, and I'm a musician as well, like you said. So when I get to sort of um, like musicals are sort of one of my favorite things to do because it's acting and music and singing and dancing as well, and it
Hmm.
combines sort of like all the talents that I have and the things that I love to do. So love doing musicals, love musical theater. I'm actually doing two musicals right now at the Shaw Festival here in Niagara on the Lake. Those are Gypsy the musical and Assassins the musical, both like two of the best musicals of all time, written by Stephen Sondheim. And I think our production of Assassins is going to have the actors playing instruments in the show as well, like an actor musician sort of take on the show. And that sort of project is like up there for
That's
me.
your bread and butter. That's like what you want to do.
Yeah, if I can be in like a show where I get to play an instrument as well and sing and be part of like a big theater production, like that's pretty much as good as it gets for me. Yeah.
No, that's really cool.
So
I
cool.
find it kind of cool because we're in like I find biopics specifically about musicians are really big right now. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
like with Rocket Man, Bohemian Rhapsody, like that. That's a
Yes.
really big genre right now. What do you kind of think about that? Because you're an actor and you're a musician as well.
Yeah. I love it. Like I love Rocket Man and Bohemian Rhapsody. And I think it obviously gives the actors playing the icons like a humongous challenge and an opportunity to shine and introduces the world to their story and to maybe music that they didn't know of or that they did know of, but they didn't know as much or as in depth. And I think it's so cool. Like, people are obviously so infatuated with celebrities and stardom, and music. So when you get a chance to like learn more about your favorite artist and like experience their music in a new way, like I think it's just the coolest thing ever for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely. Getting back to Letterkenny, what are some things that you hope Ronzi will be up to in upcoming seasons?
You know, Greg and I had this idea for, well, I'm sure that Jared and Jacob had similar ideas as well, but we were like, it'd be so cool if they did like a pride parade in Letterkenny, and like Dax and Ron could be either on a float or like, you know, leading the parade or something, to have like a small town pride parade for
Hmm.
Letterkenny. I think that'd be dope.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's one of those things too where the do you think that's also why Letterkenny is really popular as well with all the different storylines and kind of like showcasing diversity and different types of characters? That's something in there too, right? I don't think like people talk about that much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's sort of why they introduced the characters of Dax and Ron, and the way that they sort of hit on dudes at the gym and sort of treat guys the way that hetero guys so often treat girls. And so it kind of gives them a little taste of their own medicine type thing.
Hmm.
And then they end up bonding with Riley and Jonesy, and that they sort of like change their perspective on gay people as well. And they were like, yeah, we can be buds. Like you do your thing, we do our thing. And so I think, and I've had messages from people who say like, yo, I just wanted to say that because of your characters on Letterkenny, like my friends have sort of opened their minds or changed their perspective about me and my sexuality. And so I know that it was just like fun for you, but it made a positive impact on my life. And so I wanted to thank you. And that
Wow.
is like, it's the best response you could possibly get from your work. So I
That
think it's big.
no, that is huge. It's
Yeah.
it's amazing how content is able to kind of take shape like that and really kind
Yeah.
of make an impact. Because everyone says, "Oh, we're gonna make a difference." I mean, you're seeing it with content right now. It is making a
Uh-huh.
difference. But it's
Absolutely. Yeah.
black and white. It's making a difference.
Yeah. People watch it. People are affected by what they consume and what they listen to and what they give their attention to. And art imitates life, which imitates art, which it's a back and forth. And like, where does it start and where does it end? And so you definitely like artists have a responsibility to create content and material that is hopefully going to have a positive impact.
Have you had a chance to see Parasite yet? Have you seen Parasite?
Yeah, I have.
I mean, it's crazy.
Fucking fantastic. Like
it's wild.
Wild. Like undoubtedly the best film of the year.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it does open your mind about like international cinema as well. Like,
yes,
you know what absolutely. I mean? Like this whole what they said about subtitles. Like if you can get beyond the subtitles, look how much more content we're going to be exposed to.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's getting people to go like, oh yeah, it is consumable and it's not that much work, and it opens your mind, like, and it opens like you said, a whole other world of entertainment and art to you. So yeah, huge move. Like so happy that happened for art and for the world.
It was an amazing year for movies though.
Yes, like all the movies,
unbelievable.
I know that one, 1917, Little Women, Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit was my favorites of the year.
I know. I loved it as well. I was like, it like any of them could win. Like Jojo Rabbit had me howling at times. Like
I really enjoyed it. Didn't get nominated for Best Picture, but I really enjoyed Uncut Gems. I don't know if you saw that yet.
I still haven't seen it. I'm dying to watch it.
It's on Netflix now. Yeah.
I gotta watch it.
It's different. Like it's a different, and not only like Adam Sandler playing in a different role. You'll just see it's different the way it's like showed basically. It's just like a different world. These like, you know, jewelers and this world of like gambling and these cool jewels that people want to kind of purchase. It's just wild. Like it's a different perspective.
Yeah. Sick. No, I've only heard incredible things about it. My best friend was like, "Have you seen it, dude? You're gonna love it." And so I'm maybe watch it tonight. Like,
no, absolutely. It is wild. Anyway, James, I think we will wrap up. And thank you so much for coming on Popternative, man. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Oh my God, totally. Thanks for having me, buddy.
No, absolutely. Where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
I'm on Instagram at James Patrick Daly. And that's about it right now. I just started a TikTok account this morning, so we're going to start creating some content on that. Maybe get the TikTok on the go. But otherwise, yeah, it's pretty much just my Insta.
Absolutely, man. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And all the best for upcoming projects like your musicals right now, too. That's awesome.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. Today's our one day off, and then we're back into rehearsal tomorrow for Gypsy. So
very cool, man. Very cool. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. And until next time, this is James Daly and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.